Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Smeralda and you are watching Albo plants. So as I mentioned in my previous repot with me video, I want to share with you some of the methods that I am using this summer to help my plants stay hydrated and not dry out very fast. This summer here in Albania actually has been very hot and we have had really high temperatures, like 36 degrees every day and a lot of heat waves. So with this kind of conditions, my plants have been struggling a little bit and they are drying out pretty fast. So I wanted to help them by using some different kinds of methods to try and keep them moist a little bit longer and not let them dry out for long times between waterings. There was a period that I had to water my plants every day or after 2 days, and at some point it became very difficult for me to keep up. And I think that a lot of you guys maybe have the same problem as me, and maybe this video will be helpful for you too. So usually when a plant starts to dry out pretty fast, then maybe you want to repot it, because that's usually a sign that the roots are very much developed in the pot and they have used a lot of soil and they are drinking a lot of water. So the ratio between soil and roots is not a very good one, because the fact that the roots are soaking up so fast the water in the soil, then you need to repot it and give it a bigger pot with more soil. So why I am not doing that? The reason is because, as my experience, I can see how many roots there are in the pot, and I do not think that it is ready. The plant is not ready yet to be repotted in a bigger pot, and I have to also keep in mind that very soon it will be winter. So if I give them a very big pot because I want to keep them moist in the summer, then during the winter it will be a problem, because the plant maybe will not dry out as fast as it should, and it can be very easily a place for root rot. So keeping in mind that I am an overwaterer, I don't want to give my plants bigger pots, bigger than they need. So I need to find other ways to keep them hydrated. So I want to share with you 3 methods that I have been using this summer and that I have seen them being very effective for me. So the first one actually is something that I found out this year. I didn't know that it existed, because the other 2 methods I have seen also a lot of other people use, but this one was actually quite new for me, and that is the use of Ollas. So what is an Olla? Olla is actually, I can see here on Wikipedia also, an Olla is a ceramic jar, often unglazed, like a terracotta pot for example, used for cooking different kinds of dishes, and also for the storage of water or dry foods. Or it can also be used for other purposes, like irrigation of olive trees. As I'm seeing here, Ollas are used have been used before when people didn't have the irrigation system maybe that we have now, in a time that they didn't have that kind of things. They used these terracotta pots or terracotta or ceramic jars. They used them as irrigation system, used in irrigation. Because water seeps through the walls of an unglazed olla, by using soil moisture tension, one can use ollas to irrigate plants. The olla is buried in the ground, with the neck of the olla extending above the soil. The olla is filled with water, and plants such as like what they used to use it before, tomatoes, melons, corn, beans, etc., are planted around the olla. Or the olla can be near a new plant or a new seedling to get it through its first year. This was the main reason that they were using this kind of system. And how it works is like this. When the soil around the olla is dry, the soil pulls the water through the wall of the olla and into the soil. The tension is between wet and dry, thus providing water for the roots. When the soil is wet from rain or has not dried out yet, there is no tension and the water is not pulled through the water of the olla. As I understand, is like this. It's the same thing that we love terracotta pots because they are breathable and the water can evaporate. This uses the same kind of thing but in a different way. When you put this terracotta pot in the soil, then the water is going to pass through the walls of the pot and the soil is going to take all the moisture. So there are different kinds of ollas that you can buy already. They are ready to buy and are made by different kinds of artists. But I also was thinking, why not try and do a DIY olla? I thought about these very small terracotta pots that I have, which are these ones. And I have a lot of these pots, but I find that they are very difficult for me to use because they dry out pretty fast, and the only things that I can keep in here are cactuses and small succulents, and I don't have a lot of those in my collection, so these pots actually are staying without no use at my space. So I was thinking, why not use this and try to make my own DIY olla? So at least this is going to be more useful for me. These pots, what I'm going to do to make them into ollas, it's very simple. The only problem that these pots have at the moment that they cannot be used like this is that they have this small hole for you. I mean, this is of course used for planting plants inside, and so the water can drain. This has a drainage hole. So we don't need this drainage hole. We need it to be closed. So what I'm going to do is, with a little bit of sand, I'm going to fill out this hole. So I do have this kind of sand, which is, this is a kind of sand that I bought when I had parrots, and it is very fine sand and something that they can eat. But it is also another thing that I have in my apartment now without use, so I'm going to use it for this thing. And it's very nice because it is fine. You can use whatever sand you have in your disposal. There is no problem at all. So I'm going to put you down so you can see better what I'm going to do. So as you can see, I have my terracotta pot in here. I also have super glue and also the sand. And what you need to help you is also cooking paper or parchment paper, a very small amount. And what we are going to do is to cut it into a very small circle so it can fit inside the pot. Doesn't have to be perfect. It fits into the pot, so this is going to help us glue the sand without coming out from the other side. So it's going to keep the sand in place while we glue it. Very simple. So keeping the parchment paper in place, we will flip the terracotta pot like this. With the spoon, I'm going to take a little bit of sand and I'm going to pour it. I'm keeping it here so everything falls in place again and I don't make a mess. So like this. And you need to be careful to keep the parchment paper in a position and not shake a lot the pot so the sand doesn't go away. So like this. So you take the glue and you put just a drop, and the sand is going to suck the glue, and it is going to become like a cement kind of thing. And also glue with the other part of the terracotta, because it is also a porous material and it's going to suck the glue. So like this. So this needs to dry a little bit, and you can flip it out and you can take off the parchment paper now, and you can see that the glue has passed also at the other side. And if you want, you can touch up the other side by adding a little bit more of sand and also adding a little bit more of glue at the edges most. And now just leave it a little bit to dry out. I will make also another pot in the same way. So I do have this big ficus verata, and this is one of the plants that I want to use the Olla self-watering system. So I'm going to show you how I put it in the planter. So I do have my components here. I have the terracotta pot, and also this is the saucer of the terracotta pot, but I'm going to use it as a cover so the water doesn't evaporate from it. So first, what I'm going to need to do on this plant is to try and think about placement for the Olla, and I think that this part right here is perfect to try and put my Olla. So I want to try and show you as much as possible. Okay, so first I'm going to open a bit of space . So you need your Olla to be under the soil, at least like this part right here, and this part is going to need to be up the soil level, because this is going to help the water inside to keep clean and not a lot of soil debris to fall inside the pot. So you need to keep at least this part out of the soil. So put it like this. Try to push it inside like this, as you can see. And the soil that you removed, try and distribute it alongside your pot, like this. And now the only thing left is to fill it out with water. And then you put your cover like this. So it is going to help keep as much the water inside and not evaporate, and also is going to prevent insects from going inside the water reservoir. And this is how you put your Olla in your planter. So I'm going to do it also for my bird of paradise, and I will show you again the process. And dig out the soil. Hello, Shanti. Let's see if this is enough. Fill the rest of the soil that you pushed out. Like this. So you have your Olla ready, and now we just put the water inside. Like this. And also cover it like this. Another method that I want to use is also with self-watering pots that use lecas at the bottom. So the way that this works is we use a glass jar or a plastic jar without drainage holes, like simple one, and we fill a part of the jar in the bottom part, like a couple of inches with leca, or you can also use perlite. It needs to be a kind of material that will keep a level of water, but will also suck the water, will wick the water into the soil that is above it, so that the plant is going to drink as much water as it needs. So how I'm going to do this thing is I will use some DIY glass pots made from some big jars, and Rudy helped me in this part. So we took some of this kind of jars, very simple one. This used to be with food, with like pickled peppers or something like that. And this we are going to cut. Before it begins this curvature cut, you can find methods to cut with string and fire online. I mean, that is the method that Rudy used to cut this, and let me tell you, it's not perfect. You need to be very careful to not hurt yourself, and the edges of the pot are not going to turn out perfect. So in order to save them and make them usable, we made this kind of thing. We glued some rope with hot glue or super glue. We braided and glued it in the edge, so it is safe to use. There is no problem at all, and it also gives it a bit of personality and kind of design. And I also painted this kind of like feathers into the glass to make it even more beautiful. And this is not too much visible now, but with the contrast of the dark soil, it's going to pop out even more. So I have this one, and we also made another one. And in this one, Rudy made the edges with glue and also used the sand that I was using before. And you can see that with the glue, it becomes very strong. And it has created also these shapes to make it like kind of mosaic kind of vibes. So I'm going to use also this pot. And what I'm going to pot in this kind of system is you want to choose this kind of plants that needs a lot of water, like calatheas or prayer plants, or I don't know, herbs, or this kind of plants that you know that really like to be moist all the time. So you also need to be very cautious about the plants that you choose to put in these different kinds of systems. So the ones that I'm going to put today and the ones that were struggling a little bit this summer were my prayer plants. I have my regular red maranta and also my variegated maranta. So those are the plants that I'm going to put in this system. So let's start. So this is the first plant that I'm going to put. This is my red maranta, and I have been in a journey with this plant. It once started dying on me and I saved it. So now we are also going in another roller coaster. It started to dry out a little bit too much and some of the leaves turned brown. We have a lot of brown edges in the leaves. So I want to give it this kind of system so it will help me regarding this thing. I have also used some leca, if you can see, in the bottom of this pot, and I can see roots. So I think that this is due for repotting as well. So let's start. Here we go. This is going to be a bit messy because I have also watered this plant lately. So let me see. First I'm going to put my lecas. So that is what you need. You need a decent amount of leca so it will keep a reservoir of water. Wow. I have used leca in the bottom of my pot and look at the roots. So I don't know if I want to take it out. Let's see. Okay. I thought this was going to be difficult, but it was pretty easy actually. I took off the lecas at the bottom and now I will try to put it in the new pot.
Okay.
So I'm going to put also fertilizer, Osmocote, because I haven't put it in this one already. Add a little bit more of soil. And also in this part with the new soil that it's still soft and doesn't have roots, I'm going to put the propagations that don't have a lot of roots.
I mean, this one is trying to push out the new roots, so that's good.
So this one is finished. As you can see, this is the part that's going to hold the water inside, and the soil on top is going to take as much water as it needs from the bottom. And I hope that this plant is going to be much more happy now. And also, as I was saying, the feathers are more visible now with the dark soil as a background. So yeah, my red maranta is repotted with the new self-watering system, and I'm going to start working on my other maranta. So now we are going to take care of this variegated maranta. So I'm going to put it in this pot because it is a bit bigger, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to create a layer of lecas at the bottom.
As you can see.
Okay, keep it aside and let's see how the roots are on this plant. Dead leaves. Okay, look at the roots. They seem fine, but there is a lot of soil at the top, and I'm going to reuse the soil.
Let's take them in a pot in here. Take it a little bit more so it can fit.
I think it's actually a perfect fit. So I think that this plant is also done. As you can see, she is producing a lot of variegated leaves, but these ones, when they don't have the best conditions, are the first one to die, and they are browning a lot. So what can you do? These are things that happen. Plants aren't always perfect, so as long as they grow new leaves, everything is alright, so don't worry a lot about these browning tips. If you don't like them, if they bother you a lot, then you just have to cut them and try and figure out a way to keep your plant happy so it doesn't produce a lot of browning tips. So yeah. This is my Maranta kerchoveniana variegated, repotted in a self-watering pot. Oops. So another kind of self-watering system that I've seen, and it is also very much used by a lot of people in the plant community, and it is also a system that is used in a lot of self-watering pots, is the one with the string and the wick, it's called, I think, which are just these cotton strings. These usually are used as shoelaces, so maybe you can recycle some shoelaces. Just be sure that it is cotton and it's going to wick up the water. And these are usually put inside the flower pot, and they take the water from a reservoir which is down the pot. It is another part of the self-watering pot. So in this case I don't have a self-watering pot, I'm going to make a DIY one. And what I'm going to use in my advantage is this pot that I have bought, which has two separated spaces. This is a more narrow space and it is perfect to keep a water reservoir, and the pot always is going to sit above this level. So at the moment I'm keeping this Adansonii in here, and it is perfect actually because I want to put this plant in this kind of self-watering system, because Adansoniis are very picky about their watering schedule. If you are not able to give them water when they need it, then they become very sad. They are going to yellow the tips of the leaves and also brown them, and that is what is going on with this plant because it is summer and it's drying out so fast. And I keep her like up in the shelf, so I cannot keep it all the time observed and to see exactly when it has dried out to water it. So this system is going to help me very much with this plant, and it is perfect that it is in this planter. So as you can see, the planter inside is empty and it has another part which is narrow, and this is going to serve me as a water reservoir, and I'm going to use this so they can go inside this water reservoir and drink up the water. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to keep this plant in this pot because it is the right size. I'm just going to put the cord inside, and since I have some very small propagations, a couple of propagations from this plant, I'm going to also pot them inside so it can become a little bit more bushy on the upper part, because during the summer it has dried out a lot of leaves and it seems a little bit leggy. So, and as you can see, also the roots are coming out from the bottom. And they don't look like very happy. They seem to be very dried out, so it really needs this self-watering system, I think, and it's going to help me a lot. So let's start by making this one. Oh, and these, as you can see, are the propagations that I have of this plant, and I hope they have roots, because I see that they are putting out new leaves, so I think that they are ready to be potted. So yeah, let's put them in here. Yeah, the roots doesn't look very happy.
Yeah, they seem very dried out.
But at least there are also some good roots inside, so hopefully with this change the plant is going to like it and it's going to grow new healthy roots. So I don't need this much cord. I'm going to cut it in the middle. Okay. I could use both of them, but I don't think it is necessary. I'm going to use only one. And what I'm going to do is put it inside two of these holes. So like this, and they come from the bottom. They come like this. So this is enough space for them to go and sit inside the reservoir and wick out the water. I'm going to fill out a little bit with soil at the bottom. Put the plant inside. I'm just going to put a little bit of fertilizer because I see that I haven't put also in this plant, so maybe it is going to like a bit of more food. And now I want to put also the propagation, so let's see. So I have 5 propagations that I'm going to put inside this pot now. So also this pot of Adansonia is done, and as you can see we have the wicks coming out from the bottom. So this is going to be like this. So that was all the plants that I wanted to repot and put in these self-watering systems, and I am very happy that I managed to do them now, because I am still having problems with them, and I hope that this is going to help them a lot. As I said, all the self-watering systems that I used, except one, they are very well known in the plant community, and there are also other kinds of self-watering systems out there, but these are the ones that have worked for me and I wanted to share them with you. And I also hope that you find it interesting, the Olla self-watering method, and maybe give it a try by yourself. I use them a lot in my big plants, like my ficuses, and also the plants that I have in my balcony. And since I have put them in this kind of self-watering system, they love it a lot, especially my ficuses. It used to have all the time droopy leaves, and now I fill the Olla with water and it keeps like the pot a little bit more moist for a longer period of time, and they love it. So I really suggest you try it for this kind of plants. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it was helpful for you. Maybe you can try these systems out, and if you have your Instagram, tag me or something. I'm very curious to see how you are going to do them. And thank you very much for watching. If you like this video and you want similar other content like this, if you want me to make more planting content in the future, then give it a like, maybe subscribe to this channel, and also check out my Instagram page with the same name, Albo__plants. I really do love making photography of my plants and share them there. So if you like this kind of thing, then we can keep in contact. So thank you very much and wish you have a very wonderful day. See you soon. Miropavshim!